All right. It's quirky time. So Friday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day heading into the weekend. Time for me, Evan Matthews, co-founder of Macroverse, to jump back into this quirky. Let's get quirky with it. Today I'm gonna put a little music on, so apologize if it's not your jam, but went through a period of like really getting into mashups, and it's a guy that I came across called DJ Earworm. So just some good ambience for getting quirky with it. So back over into Clip Studio, and gonna start by kind of thinking about what I want to do next year. So one thing I noticed, I think I mentioned last time, there are some areas that don't yet have any texture. So I'm actually going to add a little texture into these midtones. It's going to result in me having to kind of bring a couple of things back, but that's all right. So I think what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to do much to my flats here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make these in their own folder just so I know. So I may just leave them out of the folder, but just use that as kind of a divider actually. So I know that's where the flats are. And then everything I do above that is going to be separate. This is kind of all the textures that we're working on. So I'm going to start by grabbing this kind of sweat hoodie color. Let's go down here to our hue saturation, and just gonna make it a little bit darker, a little more saturated. I'm gonna kind of work my way back to it, but I want to get some of this texture into it before I go too much further. And hopefully that'll work out as we go. So that's going to be too big. We'll bring the scale density down a bit. Yeah, something more along these lines. Probably go a little more saturated and not quite as big. I think I'll actually go more of that kind of amount of dot pattern somewhere in the middle. All right, yeah, something like that. All right, so can make this slightly bigger. This is just going to be for the hoodie areas, and I'm going to kind of basically go over the whole thing, but I just don't want those kind of completely open areas where there's no texture at all, and can use this as a little bit of clarifying for as I kind of add more modeling, light and shadow as well. Mostly going to be confined just to the sweatshirt here. Make this a little smaller. So it's going to just give everything. This kind of, there are times when I like this kind of contrast between like the texture and the completely flat color, but that's not what we're going to do with this particular piece. So I'm going to do that kind of at each stage here. That's the sweatshirt. Now let's do the kind of the same thing to our Quirkies skin tone, head tone. So we'll make this just a little bit darker. Whoops. Not too extreme, but just kind of bring it, kind of in there. That feels good to me. This will pay off as we get a little further into the illustration here as well. And since I'm not going to keep it as flat as the original, as much as I love that, just going to want this additional kind of layer of texture so that we don't despite the fact that there's kind of this open, untextured areas. It'll also give us a little more ability to pull out some highlights as we get a little further into it as well. And you're already starting to get some of these nice overlaps that I like if you go into the detail, like the dot pattern versus the line pattern. I dig that stuff. Excuse me. All right. Same thing on our donuts since they share the same color. All right, getting there. We're going to need that for the hat. Add a little saturation, bring it down just a little darker. Yeah. And don't worry about that cue. We're going to address that as we get a little further as well. Hope everybody had a great week heading into the weekend. It's a very busy one for us, but that is not a complaint. All right. All right, let's figure out where is that cue. Actually, I want to make sure I have control of that. Did it stay in the ink layer? Yeah. Did I not label it? Let's go. What is this? Shadow. That is skull texture. As nose inside skull. This is hat texture. Oh, there's the hat cue. Yeah, we're going to pull that up to the very top because we're going to end up doing something with that. All right. Actually, for now, just go ahead and give it a little bit of a overlay of some kind so you can start to see how it interacts as we go. More than that. Yeah, something like that. All right, we'll address that in a bit. Okay, did I get everything? Yeah, got everything there. So, all right. So now I think what I haven't addressed are our kind of bubble, these, the particles that are coming out of the donuts. I don't want to wait too long to start to get some of that in there. So this is going to be a place where I actually pull the line work into. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I want those to be on top. So what I'm probably going to do is actually, have all of the other color layers in there. All right. I thought I was going to keep them separate. This is just going to be way easier if I don't worry about these extra lines in here, which is, I was just, keeping them overlapping, but don't need to do that. So we'll just do that. Makes it way easier. So then we can work on the color for those in the same place that we're doing these other things, which is going to be what we're going to do. And those are not really the same as any other color on the original Quirky. They're not the hot color. They're not the not this skin tone or Quirk tone. So they can kind of be their own thing. Okay, good. So then let's put them, where do we want to put them? I think we'll put them kind of actually starting with a little bit of the same light and shadow. So kind of the same deal. Actually, I'm going to want to clean them up a little bit from previous stuff. Going to have some fun with them, making them really pop. So I'm going to use some of this shadow tone in here. And probably to start with, just sticking with this texture that I was just using. So again, our light source kind of upper left. Right now, I'll just leave a little bit of a highlight in there. Your day breaks, your mind aches. You find that all her words and kindness take her on when she no longer needs you. She wakes okay, we're vibing. She takes her time and doesn't feel she has to hurry. She no longer needs you. And in her eyes you see nothing. No sign of love behind the tears. Cry for no one. Total side note, I saw Poor Things last night, movie, and so good. Really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was incredibly well made and very refreshing for something truly original in the film world right now. So definite recommend for me for Poor Things. All right, cool. All right, so now what I'm going to do is going to go back to the shadow side now, back to the dark side, and kind of add the next layer of shadow to what we're doing. So I'm going to start with yet another thing. Now this time I want to start to bring in a few other colors. So I want it to still read at the end of the day like these original colors, but I want to start thinking about if we've got kind of a yellowish light source and an even darker purple kind of shadow side, what that's going to be like. And so here's where, we'll kind of start to push the color palette a little bit while still staying in the world of what we've got here. And I'm going to go with a crosshatch pattern for this and let that be just a little bit bigger as well. So not that, yeah, more like that. All right, so this is going to be our shadow 2. And now we're going to think initially about the darkest parts of this. So under the ball for sure, where things are going to be obscured by other objects. And again, if you saw me work on this before, it's like I'm kind of carving out the areas as I go. So thinking about how light affects each of these areas, and then they'll end up kind of overlapping and joining as well in places. You see nothing, no sign of love behind the tears, right from the war. A love that should have lasted years. Okay. So light coming here, we're not going to go quite as extreme now for this darker part. And we'll end up getting some reflected light and things in here too. thinking about the top of the antenna here. I think actually we are it's gonna be darker like it is, but it's gonna have light hitting it as well. So I think from this point, the darker part kind of does that. So you get a little bit of the plane of the top of it, and then that extra bit of the shadow side. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong brush. Not the texture. I thought that started to look weird. There we go. Okay. Okay. Getting there. All right, so I think that takes care of that, and then we'll adjust again, sort of looking at different blending modes as to where we want to land here. I can also adjust opacity, which, kind of the combination of blending and opacity can create some interesting, cool effects. And again, like I just start, this isn't what I'm going to do for this, but I think it just starts to look so cool when you get these overlaps. And again, sort of the old school printing techniques only possible in digital because of these kinds of effects, where, when you get up close, you get that kind of texture overlap, but at a glance, it still looks like more traditional rendering. And definitely not for some of these. That would be if we wanted it to be lighter, which we don't want. So definitely want it to read as darker. So I'm going to be looking more in that direction. If we really wanted to, we could go with complementary color, which would be another way to go, creating a good amount of depth and contrast here. So let's see, do we like that better? I think maybe we'll go with some color burn actually, and continue to kind of work on it. But I like what's starting to happen there with the interaction of those colors. So how does that feel when we start to apply it? Yeah, right on. So that's what I was hoping. So that works when we go into some of the other shadow areas as well. We're going to bring that down a little bit. It's a little too intense when we get in there, so we'll adjust we may just tweak this color a little bit too, so you can always have some flexibility around that.
That's carved on my wish list. That's the only thing I want for Christmas. That's carved on your playlist. That's the only thing I want for Christmas. Making a list, checking the text, counting my clips. Yes, I like it. I counted the voice, I counted the styles, counted the place on the playlist right now. I am somebody.
I think in this case we might actually, let's see how this feels if we really focus on the fact that this is going to still be lighter under here, but might just let the light really be on that side of the hoodie. Actually, I missed that highlight, so we'll keep that.
Your girl's gone missing and your house has got an empty bed. Folks are on the line of wedding, they won't listen to what you said. We're gonna take your mama out all night, yeah, we'll show her what it's all about. We'll get her jacked up on some cheap champagne, we'll let the good times all roll out. If the music ain't good, well, it's just too bad. We're gonna sing a little no matter what.
Okay, we're getting there. Yeah, I think it needs a tweak, but it's getting there. So now I want to keep that kind of interaction that's happening, but I think we need to just adjust the color a little bit to make it kind of more fine-tuned. So I'm going to actually raise the opacity up a little bit, and then this is where, again, the magic of working digitally, we can now go and edit the actual color itself. So we want to do a hue, saturation, luminosity adjustment, and then we can just kind of see how it plays as we adjust. So I think, kind of going a little more in this direction is going to be better for how those overlap. And I think we'll actually bring the saturation down a little bit, and then probably bring the luminosity up or down. So I think we'll make it darker and then drop the opacity, and that'll give us more of what we're actually looking for. So being able to play with this is a very nice thing. Yeah, I think we're kind of actually more in there. Okay, and then dropping this down a little bit. Yeah, feels like that actually touches each of the various bits, different colors in the piece a little more as desired, at least on my end. Okay, so that helps with that. I'm going to go ahead and switch the texture back to something more along the dot side of things, and then include these guys in here as well. Let's see. Density, no, ratio. Actually, this is pretty subtle on here, so I'm not going to do too much, but we'll just hit some of the darker parts here. All right, sure. Okay, so let me think about where we want to go here. I think that's a little too extreme. So again, I'm going to kind of end up pushing it too far in one direction and having to bring it back, but that's okay. So I think let's actually make another shadow layer. I'm going to use this same approach. I'm going to put it under that one. This time, use the same dot pattern, but make the size of the dots a little heavier. And then let's go back to, where are we at? Let's go back to linear burn to start with. Yeah. Push this a little more pink. And I don't want it to be quite so much directly next to that. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of hit basically all of this. I want this one to read a little more dotty. There we go. So I'm going to kind of go through most of everything that's actually here just to get even more to play with. Not going completely to the edges, and I'll leave a little bit for the suggestion of some edge lighting, but we don't need this part to be as bright down here as it is up on the top, for example. That's too much there, so a little subtler.
I just want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of life. No matter what, money on my mind, I can go and get it done.
Feels like kind of an appropriate song for the bear market right now. I don't know. Just saying. Or sorry, the bull market, I mean, not the bear market. Silly. There's some cool things that are going to start to happen now. Okay. So already it's like I'm just starting to feel like the way these things combine is getting a little more where I want them to be.
That song gets my I hope that song gets my hear him talk, cold story told, somewhere far down this road, lost the soul, so hard to be so hard to be so heartless. Just because the way I lost that sea. To be so old. Just wanna when please they're home in the homeless. You got a new friend, I got homeless in the end, still so lonely in the night. Every time, old story is somewhere far down this road. Lost the soul, torn so hard that I can't write. It's been so hard,
Okay.
it's been so hard, it's been so hard, I say the wrong and the wrong is so hard, so evil, coming outside of me that I don't know. Outside everyone can speak, so probably up to 3 a.m. on the phone. Why does she be so mad at me for? Only I don't know she's hot and cold. I won't stop, won't mess my groove up, 'cause I already know how this thing go. You wanna tell your friends that you leave me, say that they gon' see what you see me. Wait a couple months, then you gon' see. Never find nobody better than me in the night. Yeah, it's time. Old story is told. Somewhere far down this road, lost the soul. Going so hard that I can't ride. It's been so hard, it's been so hard. Talk. I'm turning on. Baby, let's just knock it up. I'm turning on. I got something new to see.
Okay. All right. I'm starting to feel this a lot. And again, sorry, I'm going to keep doing this, but I just love what starts to happen with these overlaps. It's pretty cool. Yep. And I'll just throw that anywhere. All right, so I think we're getting pretty close. I want to do one more pass on shadow stuff right now at shadow 3. Shadow 4. And this time I am going to, again, maybe adjust the color after the fact, but mention kind of going with a complementary color. So if we're going to largely, purple would kind of be yellow, blue would be orange. So something kind of in that middle yellow-orange range. And then we'll see what happens when we do some adjustments with that after we lay it down. I'm going to use a different texture for that again. Vertical line, not sure I'm going to want that, but oh, maybe. All right, let's try it. I think that could work. So this is going to be just the darkest part with leaving like a little bit of edge light. And we'll see how that looks when we, yeah, okay. So it gets a little bit of color in it, but it's still feeling pretty good. Okay, let's try that. So again, like this is just the darkest of the darks. And I'm leaving a little bit of rim lighting here as well, which we're going to do a little more with as we progress. But
This is America. It just wants to happen. Love me, love me, love me. I need you to find you. Love me, love me, love sunset, like a light, I'm not the same, man. I'm on the other side. It'll make no sense. Everybody do know that you know. Everybody. How did we get into this mess? Here you go. I know we could have been attention. I just wanna watch I believe to be.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. See, I like how we start to get a little color into some of this. And it's funny, it's like every time I work on one of these, I have like a little bit of anxiety of like, is it gonna work? And then it starts to work and it's awesome.
I'm having fun, don't put me down. I'll never let you sweep me off my feet. I won't let you in again. The messages I've tried to send, my information's just not going in.
It's pretty cool. If I do say so myself, it's pretty cool. Dig it. All right. I'm going to get a little of that action going on in here too. And we've neglected the skull, which we're going to come back to. So let me see how that feels actually with this. Actually, I think that's going to work out well here too. Yeah, it actually works quite well. Subtle, but subtle things make a difference. Okay, actually really quite liking this, and it's helping me kind of push past the original color scheme, but again, we'll be bringing some of that kind of pastel back in as well. Yeah, pretty cool. And you can also play with this layer stack to see kind of where it's in the tonal range. I do like that one on top. All right, save. Always be saving. All right, so now before I go too much further, the background is the thing that I also want to work on, because right now the character is really now popping forward quite a bit, which is great. That's what I want. But the background is now pretty flat, and the same way that we got some color into the character, we want to now get some color into the background, and then ultimately again sort of push it back towards pastel. But I think we can more adventurous in the background, which I do like to do. So we'll start by just giving ourselves a bigger brush and starting to think about, I like to kind of create some shapes and patterns in here as well. So it's not just all one color, and often kind of follows the either kind of Kirby crackle, if anybody knows what that is, which I think I will do some of in here. And then also kind of thinking about the light and shadow as well a bit, and also can kind of help with some overlaps for just shapes in general. It just starts to have kind of a cool feel to it. If you don't know what the Kirby Crackle is, I should explain that. But if you like comics at all, Jack Kirby, the king of comics, one of the most influential, probably the most influential artist of all time in the comics industry. He is known for this kind of effect of a little bit of what I'm doing right now that creates this kind of space energy. He uses it in a lot of different ways. And it just creates a really cool effect in a lot of different contexts. So something a little bit like that. All right, and then I'm going to just start playing with, again, sort of different blending modes. We'll push it in one direction, pull it back in another direction. I'm kind of going for some interesting overlaps or interesting color reactions, more than a necessarily particular color at the moment, while kind of still ultimately kind of coming back to our tonal range. I also don't want to go too much kind of light, because we're going to end up doing light source, kind of more of a light source from the other side. So even though we're kind of getting this orangey color in there, it's not meant to represent light at this stage. So I'm going to go back up here somewhere. There was one that I liked earlier. Could just go multiply, but I think color burn's more interesting for that. All right, and then let's pick, let's see, sometimes for the background, it's fun to go even a little more into the world of all these cool brushes and textures that I have. Let's see, yeah, so something like this zigzag, for example. Make a new layer, yeah. So now in this case, let's go kind of the other direction, go pretty hot. I'm gonna make the size big, not that big, but pretty big. A little bigger than that. All right, and then this one I am just gonna kind of go over the whole thing. kind of play with what happens with these different blending modes. It's really cool. Even that's really cool. So it's like you can get like the lighter in the lighter areas and the dark in the darker areas. I like that. All right, so now we'll do this again. New layer. Let's push a little more purple. Make this even a little bigger. And then this one, we'll do kind of another type of kind of curvy crackle pattern. And maybe we'll go almost a little more like a shadow of the character, just a little bit. Kind of suggest that anyway. Okay. So cool. Okay, go in there with that. And then I'm going to go straight to the other side of this and go for much more something that does represent more of the light source here. Pretty bright glow. But I'm going to stick with this kind of large zigzag pattern for the moment. And kind of do the opposite, where most of this is coming from our kind of light source area. Lots of trial and error to find the right combinations here. And then we can also play with, again, like where does it fall in the layer stack, because that changes the effect as well. Stuff like that's really cool. I don't quite want that right now, but it's pretty cool.
Oh my God. Everybody's looking for love. Ain't that the reason you like this club? We gotta fight, baby. You only get one shot.
Okay, I think actually that, but not quite at full strength, is pretty good. All right, we're getting close to kind of coming back to our quirk here, but having fun with this. So now let's bring our original character back in, because I want to pull that original background color and start to bring that back in just a little. And let's try something kind of unexpected here for the pattern. We like this lithotone. Okay, the brush size quite a bit bigger. Let's make the scale a bit bigger as well. Yeah, I want to see more of the other stuff that we laid down already. Okay, and then we'll just give this kind of a over the top of everything. So it'll start to kind of push it back towards the original size, original color in this live stream. All right, and then playing with that, we'll start to kind of bring it all together. So I don't want to completely get rid of what I put down. See, something like that would be really cool. It's not what I'm after, but it's really pretty cool. And like, that's pretty freaking cool. So actually, I'm going to keep that and then work on it a little bit more, because how could we not keep that? So let's now go back to more of maybe a dot pattern here. So let's go back over here. Let's see. And we'll push it a little more saturated. And make the brush a little bigger, scale up. Brush size a little bigger. All right, and then we'll kind of bring that color back in again. But that really does start to have a cool effect of lighting. Oh, getting a lot of layers here, so it's going a little bit slower as my computer catches up. This may be a case where I kind of like this so much that I move away from the original intention here, because I think this looks really cool. So we may just go a little more wild with it, but this might be a little too extreme. So we'll see where we ultimately land, and basically just going to get something cool in here to be able to go back to the character, and then that'll influence going back to the background, and so forth. Save.
You look kind of familiar. Yeah, you do too. I just wanted to know, do you know somebody named? You know his name.
There we go.
I know his name. I just want to let you know he's mine. No, he's mine. What would you do to get to me? What would you say to have your way? Would you give up or try and feel it? I'll be self or play a role. Tell all the boys or keep it low. If I say no, would you turn away?
So this too, like, pressure sensitive. So if I'm just pressing down a little bit, get a little bit of the pattern. If I press down harder, can get more opacity. Okay, yeah, I'm liking this quite a lot now. And even that is really cool. There's the alternate version. So let's see. Even that's really cool. This stuff starts to do wild things, which I sometimes fall in love with. All right. Whoops. Not blocking it. All right. Let's see. May just have to go normal on this one because I do want it to start. Oh, that's starting to work back in that direction. All right, we'll go with that for the moment, and then may do some further adjustments as well. Yeah. Okay, save. It's enough for me to go back to the figure. So hope people are enjoying this one, but definitely a lot of exploration in here at the moment. All right. Now back to the figure. I think I want to work on the skull a little bit more. Kind of in a similar way, like pushing away from it being so bright to be able to create a little more dimension. And then we'll get some highlights, we'll do some reflected light, and then kind of tie it all together. So we're actually not that far away from, I think, what I would begin to consider getting close to done. Let's see. So going back to skull shadow. And what it's really going to be is now this time being a little more reductive, where I'm going to leave highlights, and then we'll pull out a little more of that as well. So probably actually want to go kind of in this slightly darker territory, and maybe nudge it towards. Now we're going to stay over in this kind of bony color, actually. All right. And for this, let's see. Let's maybe go with a horizontal line for now. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, okay. This can go up a little bit more. There we go. Even a little more. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so now I'm going to be leaving the parts that are the brightest. And this is probably going to move down under here. Yeah. Again, it's going to be kind of subtle, but subtle makes a difference. Probably am going to actually do something in those eyes as well, actually. Just realizing that. That's still kind of untouched territory. go. And then I think I want to pull out a little bit of from a couple of the kind of hot spots. Okay, so I think that's pretty good, and then that gives us the foundation to pull out a few more highlights there as well. That's the eyes and the nose, yeah. Okay, good. We'll be able to do something with that as well. In fact, let's do that right now, real quick. This should definitely feels like it should be dots to me. So we'll go just right in here. And for the moment, just do a quick multiply since I'm using the same color. Might not get too fancy here inside the eyes, but need something. Yeah, that definitely helps. Cool. All right. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting somewhere. So now I want to go and turn my attention a little more to the highlight side. And one thing I'm seeing right now is that the lighting that we have right now is probably too much. Like we want to pull that back a little bit so that we can build it back up a little bit more. So I'm pulling that down a little bit. It's still there, but it doesn't need to be quite that extreme at this stage, so we can do some more interesting things. Let's go kind of down to there with it. I know we've got room to like really pick out some highlights. So initially, I also want to bring some of this color back in. So let's start with that. And I kind of like the line for over there. Probably screen. Yeah. You know what? Start normal and see how it goes. No, can't be that. All right, so here's a test highlight. All right, we could do something like that for now.
She makes a sign, a teaspoon, he makes a sign away. The poor boy changes clothes, puts on aftershave to compensate for his ordinary shoes. She said, honey, take me dancing, but they ended up by sweeping in the doorway of the bodegas and the lights on Broadway. Wearing diamonds on the soles of their shoes. And I could say, and everybody you know what I was talking about. I mean, everybody you know exactly what I was talking about. Talking about
Oops, not that brush. There we go.
People say I'm crazy, I got diamonds on the soles of my shoes. Yeah. Well, that's one way to diamonds on the soles of my shoes.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Okay, let's play with this a little bit momentarily. Okay. I don't think that's quite exactly right, but it's in the neighborhood. Yeah, definitely not that. If we go down to like Q, like that doesn't quite work on the blue with that, so that's an issue. I actually don't kind of hate that if we use it as something to then build on top of, but it doesn't work on the skull in there. Nope. Let's try something. Let's go in here, get some of that color back in there just a bit, and then if we just adjust that, going for desaturation again. So if we adjust the luminosity, does that make a difference? Not really. Saturation? Not really. Let's see. I don't really want to go too far that way. Let's see if we just nudge it towards. Does that do anything? Nope. Alright, so I think we're going this way with it. Yeah, that's going to be okay once we get a little further down the road, I think. Make any difference? Not really. Alright. Let's just try again for a couple of options. Nope. Alright, I think we'll just go ahead and go with that. So this is, again, kind of a subtle approach, but And then I think before I get too into the light here, I do want to just do a little more on the slightly lightening side. I know some of you, if you're watching, might be like, why are we bothering with this? It's, close. It's getting very close. But again, I'm a little obsessive about this stuff. And also, at the end of the day, I think it does help bring it all together. So now let's go back to actually kind of a slightly dirtier dot pattern. That's not the right brush. Yeah, and kind of go the other way like we did. So bring the dots a little larger and then use that as a way to kind of work some of this back in, especially on the kind of local color side of the fence. Probably going to move this down the stack a little bit, but I think it will help kind of bring a little bit of the original color palette back.
This is how we do it down in Puerto Rico. This is how we do it all the time. Down in Vegas, in Miami, down in Paris, in Manhattan, in Havana, down in LA. This is how we do it when we roll down in the backseat underneath the rising sun. In the street, in the dark, in the gun. You shut out something just like this. My heart's looking at the truth. Just make sure everybody's gonna be something real. Just make sure everybody see the beauty through the darkest way. It's them. Is it you? Is it you? I don't want it to. Is it friend? Is it true? Don't let the gun go. You can hang all day. If you want it food, look. This is how we do it down in Puerto Rico. This is how we do it all the time. Down in Vegas, in Miami, down in Paris, in Manhattan, in Havana, down in LA. This is how we do it when we go down in the backseat underneath the rising sun.
All right, so yeah, I think that is going to be an effective way of doing that. So I might just bring that down in the stack a little bit, but I like being able to get that in there. Let's see, maybe under the light here, and then again sort of adjusting. Not enough there. Don't want to make too big of a deal out of the pattern either. So there's a point where too much is too much and it starts to become distracting, which is not what I want. There we go. More overlay. There we go. All right, and then that creates a template to do the same thing with the other colors, the original colors in here. So actually I'm going to call this local color pink. And then I'm going to make this local color blue. Actually, purple is what I just did. So let's do purple. Okay, and then probably the same thing. This is overlay. Let's go ahead and go to overlay as well. Ready? Oh, I turned that off. There we go. Overlay. And we've got the right color. So back to the brush. Okay, that does the purple. You know what? We'll just steal a little bit of that into the bubbles in this layer too. Just a little touch. Okay, and then the same thing with the hoodie. Logo color blue. Here we go. Overlay. They don't go quite so far in there, but something like that. Whoops, not the right brush. Always confuses me because the keyboard command doesn't take you back to the last brush. It takes you back to the main brush palette. Sorry, that was me saying not right now to my 7-year-old. Okay, yeah, I really like this. Cool. I dig it. All right, cool. Now for the skull in the same way. And we might adjust this one the most because, again, don't necessarily want to go that bright in this just yet. In this case, we want to keep that for the highlights probably, but still be good to kind of bring it all together here. Logo color skull. And again, go overlay. This is going to be probably quite bright, but that's all right. Oh yeah, it's going to be cool though because it does really interact with what's underneath there. Yeah, I really like that actually. So cool. Okay, pretty cool. I do like it. So I think this is kind of this has become a way to kind of tie everything back, which is great. Let's go same thing with the inside of the eyeballs. Just gonna go ahead and cheat a little bit and do that on the blue layer. I don't think we're gonna end up adjusting that. That would be the reason not to do it. Okay. Yeah, I love getting a little of that back in there. That's great. We want to get a little in the eyes. Let's see. How does that feel? Unnecessary, I think, just because of the way it's rendered. If we were making this more realistic, we might do something there, but no, not going to do that for this. Okay. Wow, I'm really into it now. Okay, let's get to the kind of hotspot highlights and then be very close to wrapping up with this piece. So I think we're going all the way to the top now for highlights. And for this, I am going to mostly use like a pretty bright yellow. And probably, let's see, what do we want to do texture-wise? I tend to like to do the kind of lines, but we did that already. So maybe we go with a pretty straightforward, like very clean dot pattern for this, actually. Let's see. Bring this up a little bit. Now let's try that. So we're going to be getting hot spots. And we're going to be getting, so we want this to like really go basically all the way white when it hits that. So let's usually color dodge. Hard light maybe? No. Yeah, we don't, when it's on the white, it should basically turn white. Alright, well, you know what? That is not as tight of a dot pattern as I thought it was either. So just to get a sense of it, yeah, we want it to be more like that. So that helps. Okay. But then it should not be this. Looking for where it basically turns white. I thought that would have been a dodge or glow. Maybe it's, alright, let's try it as an add. How does it feel down here? Maybe we need to be even tighter here, actually. Yeah, all right. Yeah, even more of that. Yeah, okay. That's more what I'm looking for. That'll work. So we're hitting the hot kind of edge of where, like if light is hitting the edge of something, and then we're also hitting kind of hot spots where it's kind of the highlight of an object or a shape. Or in some cases, both. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be too intense for in there. So we'll come back to that perhaps. It's too light on there. I'm not sure. All right, we're not getting this quite right as far as the color. So, all right, we'll adjust that after the fact. We're going to do light on the other side later, the reflected light. I think this is where I think there is going to be like a highlight in here. Something like that. Oops.
Yes, girl.
Okay, close. Let's go up a notch here. I feel like I should be saying something about this, but right now I'm just kind of finding a little bit of how far I want to push it. It's too hot over there. Okay. Okay. So what I am doing is going down from density in the dot pattern so that you can kind of get a little bit almost like feathered by going from a lot of dots that are very close together to more spread out. Okay. Okay, pretty good. Oh, hat. I've forgotten about that. Okay. And we'll adjust that a little bit here as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I do want it to be kind of This is where sometimes like blending modes don't do exactly what you expect, because it shouldn't be quite that quite the same on every color. It should pick up some of the color. So I'm gonna first play with what we can do here. So even that like made a difference there, but also don't want to lose the intensity of it. So something in here we might need to adjust the yellow as well. Might just be too much actual yellow potentially, which could be a good thing if we wanted to actually cast like yellow light on it, but that's not really the intention in this particular case. Alright, so let's find what we like the best and then adjust the color, because yeah, it's not quite right. Alright, so then go to, again, hue, saturation, luminosity. Suspect we're going to want it to be a bit lighter. But I don't want to go blue because we're going to actually do that on the other side. Okay. Let's try hard light and then adjusting again. Okay, yeah, more kind of in this direction. Definitely not going blue. I do want it to kind of have enough pop for for being a clear light source. I still want it to feel like it is the color that it is, so we're kind of in a interesting middle ground here. Alright, so maybe we'll do this. We'll do that. And then we'll try this again. That's all you ever hear me say since you've been gone. And all right, let's give it one more adjustment here. Yeah, not that. How could I really hear you say, I just wanna be with you? I guess you never felt that way. But since you've been gone, I can't breathe for the first time. I'm so alone, yeah. Thanks to you, now I get what I want. I can't breathe for the first time. I'm so alone, yeah. Thanks to you, now I get what I want. Yikes. Some crazy things happen. No, definitely not. Alright, so we're back in this kind of earlier range. So let's see. Back into our screen. Color dodge. Color glow. I think we're back kind of in that territory. All right. So let's see what happens when we add the other. And then also I might try actually duplicating this layer. Where is that? Where is duplicate? There we go. Try that. And then let's hit the reflected light from the other side. So that we're going to do with a little bit of blue, pinkish bluish. So it's going to be reflected light. Generally, that's kind of something from the environment. So if we were going to be accurate, it would be kind of the background color. So we'll try. I'm going to try more bluish and see how that feels. And for this one, I am going to go back to the lines here somewhere. Yeah. And so now we're kind of imagining if the light source was coming from the other direction, what would that look like? Not going to bring it over in there. I'm going to keep it more like edge light. Okay. It just instantly adds more dimensionality to everything. It's kind of a very cool trick. Get a little bit into the bubbles as well. and then play with this a little bit as far as just having it feel a little more integrated into everything else. We want it to stay light, not shadow, so that's what we're looking for. But see, there it all starts to blend into the color a little bit more, so something more along those lines. So we were trying to achieve on the other side as well, but it wasn't working quite as well. But that actually feels quite good. Not sure why that didn't work as well. Color dodge is what we did there. Yeah, it's that as well. So yeah, I think it may just be too bright to get that same effect with how pastel the other colors are. I think that's what I'm bumping into here. But still quite happy with this. All right, and then said we were going to do something with the Q on the hat, and we are. So let's first try like bumping it down a little bit so that it gets even a little more texture. And then I'm going to give it kind of its own treatment. So getting that blue again. Whoops. Excuse me. Alright, go in here. I want to be down there with it. Going up into, let's try it up here. Nope. Alright, I'm going to go all the way to its own thing here. So, yeah. Alright, almost there. Okay. There we go. Cool effect. I like it. Cool. All right, so I think our guy is just about done. I'm not going to say 100% that it is. I can already see one thing that I want to do, which is just to do a little more to the interior of the eye sockets and do that real quick. Let's go on one of the shadow layers. I guess I'm going to go with something new again just because I want to keep it clean. This is Q. Texture. This is going to be eye sockets. So just want to get a little more, just a little more shadow in there. So stick with that. Let's see, more blue, a little darker. Just subtle, but just brings it in a little bit more. Okay. Pull that down here into the shadow areas. All right, so the only thing keeping me from turn the music down just a little bit while we chat here. Only thing keeping me from calling this done right now is not feeling like the character in the background are completely working together as much as I would generally like them to be. So I'm going to call it there for this evening. I think we've got probably one more session, at the most probably another hour for this to be completely finished. I am confident at this point that I'm going to go ahead and throw down a signature, which is usually one of the last things that I do. And I'm going to do that in a nice bright pink. And again, may end up adjusting it. Actually, I'm going to do it in a nice bright yellow. We do need to get that graphic on the hoodie's sleeve as well. And I think I know what I want to do there. I'm going to just throw down a signature here and then keep that on a separate layer as well. $24, and there we go. So I'm sure I'll end up adjusting that also, but I'd say we're like 95% to finished here, and feeling pretty good about it. Man, we actually went a long way over the last kind of hour and a half today, so really pleased with where we ended up. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and that is gonna be it for me for today. I guess a couple of little notes if you are watching. Again, very excited about what we're doing with Quirkies at Macroverse. There's a lot more going on there as well. So if you are not yet in the Macroverse Discord and you're a Quirkies holder, come in. You can verify yourself there. We'll have some things that we'll be able to give you and interact with you around as we continue to roll that out. And there's a lot more that we're working on. So new episodes on the mobile app on iOS and Android, new episodes in Epics today. We've got an incredible drop coming on Drip House on Sunday. So if you're not subscribed to Macroverse on Drip House right now, definitely go and do that. It's awesome. The experience is fantastic. It's the most fun I'm having in NFTs right now. And more to come. So thanks for joining the stream. And thanks for hanging out, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And, one of the great things about this process too is I may come back to it on, probably won't continue. I don't know if I'll get to more of this drawing until Monday, but if I do, you guys will see it on the stream. And if I don't, we'll get into it on Monday. But one of the things that's fun is to come back with fresh eyes as well. So I'm sure I'll see some things. I already see a couple things, but I'm sure I'll see some things when I come back to it again that I'll want to tweak, and then that'll help us wrap it up as well. But very pleased with where we've landed so far, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And with that,